Everybody, thanks for joining me. Before we get started, please go ahead and click subscribe to my channel to keep up with all of my latest investing and personal finance content. And check out the link you see on your screen right now for a message from our sponsor, The Motley Fool, where you can get the top 10 stocks to buy right now. So, even the best investors have not been immune to the downturn in 2022, and Warren Buffett is no exception. The legendary billionaire investor has seen a lot of the stocks that he owns in his portfolio get hammered this year. But having said that, there are some that look like great buys as we head into 2023. So I'm going to go through five of my favorite Buffett stocks to buy right now, four of which I actually own in my own portfolio. Um, so, no particular order. First one is Amazon. Amazon is down about 50% from its peak, believe it or not. And it's really rare to find a combination of two dominant businesses like Amazon has. Its e commerce business has a 40% market share in the US. Its Amazon Web Services cloud infrastructure business has about 34% of the market. Um, the number two player has just over 20%. So both of these businesses have a lot of room to grow. Amazon retail's only about 15% e-commerce so far, for example. Amazon operates in a lot of international markets where it does not have a dominant market share like that yet. So there's a lot of room to grow on that side of the business. And the more profitable side of the business is that cloud business. It has something like 30% operating margins right now. That market itself is expected to roughly 5x in size by the end of this decade. So even if Amazon can just maintain this market share, that's uh, more billions of dollars in extra profit on the bottom line. Number two is GM, General Motors. General Motors is one of my largest investments in my portfolio. I think it's one of the best plays on electric and autonomous vehicles that no one is talking about. The stock's down about 35%, excuse me, in 2022. It trades for less than 6 times earnings right now. Very, very cheaply valued. They're investing heavily in EV development. Um, GM thinks it can double its revenue by 2030. That would give it about $300 billion in annual revenue. And not just that, it's going to do it in ways that should improve margins. For example, GM's building out a software business. They're the majority owner of Cruise, which is just starting to generate revenue through autonomous taxi services, and they think they can build that to a $50 billion business by the end of the decade. Um, they're aiming for a 12 to 14% net profit margin, which would translate to about $40 billion of profit per year. GM's entire market cap right now is about $55 billion. So it's one that I think is a great play on EVs. It's a profitable company, unlike a lot of the EV startups that people invest in, and one that I really am very bullish on right now. Number three is Mastercard, MA. Mastercard is actually not a bad performer. They're only about 10% off the highs as I'm talking, and I still think they're a great value right now. It's really rare you could find a company that's essentially part of a duopoly on a business or on a business that people need. Between them and Visa, they control most of the payment processing market. And I mean, just to put it in perspective, Mastercard is the number two, and they processed about $8 trillion of payments last year, or annually in the last quarter. There's a lot of room to grow the dividend. The numbers look great. Consumer spending's still kind of strong. Revenue is up 15% because of that. They make their money on swipe fees primarily. Earnings are up 13% year over year. If you're wondering what companies are still growing and still making money more than they were last year, Mastercard's one of them. There are about 3 billion Mastercard branded cards in the world right now. So big company. I think it's a natural inflation hedge. As prices go up, the volume that's flowing through Mastercard's network should go up proportionally. So it'll go up and down as consumer spending, recessions and things like that hit. But overall, it should be a nice natural inflation hedge over time. Number three is a company called Markel. Markel is often called the baby Berkshire. It is very similar in structure to an earlier stage Berkshire Hathaway. At its core, it's an insurance company. They do reinsurance, they do specialty insurance. When I had to get an umbrella policy for a rental property, it was underwritten by Markel. They also have a venture capital division. One of the big advantages they have over Berkshire Hathaway is that they're smaller and can make needle moving investments in smaller companies than Berkshire can. They also have a stock portfolio. Wouldn't you know it, their number one holding is Berkshire Hathaway. So there's a lot of mutual respect between the two companies. So if you want to get in on an earlier stage Berkshire Hathaway with a lot of potential, Markel is worth a look. And last but certainly not least is Ally Financial. This is Buffett's newest bank holding. He's been building a position in 2022. Ally is primarily an auto lender. It spun out of General Motors. It was formerly their financing arm, so not surprisingly, they're primarily an auto lender. They have a full suite of banking services. They have a deposit platform. They offer mortgages, other types of loans, credit cards. They have an investment platform, a robo advisor, a lot going on with the bank. They have a big deposit base that gives them low cost capital to fund their auto loans, which the average yield on one of their auto loans is about 8%. So there's a lot of profitability in this business model and a lot of wiggle room in case loan defaults spike up, let's say in a recession. It's a great business. It's very profitable, trading at a very cheap valuation, just over 6 times forward earnings. It has almost a 5% dividend yield, and the company has a great record of aggressively buying back shares when it's profitable, and it has been profitable for a long time. So that's Ally Financial, ALLY. Those are my 5 Buffett stocks to buy right now. Once again, thank you so much for joining me. Be sure to click subscribe if you don't subscribe to my channel already. And as always, this video is sponsored by The Motley Fool. Be sure to visit www.fool.com/Frankel to receive the top 10 best stocks to buy now.